All right, welcome back to Niners Radio 49, 49ers Live Monday night, 49ers Live tonight, Monday night edition, the Aftermath Victory Monday. 49ers coming off their win over the Chicago Bears with a convincing 38-13 win in a must-win situation. As we continue on Niners Radio 49, we are going to right now, it's going to be Kyle Shanahan's press. He met with the media earlier in the day. We're going to we're going to we're going to share you that segment. Kyle Shanahan talking with the media earlier in the day is and his the status of Isaac Garondo's with the injury. So we'll send it to you that right
Kyle,
now.
is the plan still to have Dre Greenlaw be able to play on Thursday night?
There's a chance to. We'll see. Well, I haven't talked to him yet, so we'll see when he gets in here tomorrow how he's feeling, how practice goes Tuesday and Wednesday, and make our decision then.
Kyle, do you have updates on Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, the other guys?
Yeah, Nick Bosa still in the same situation. We'll evaluate him as this week goes. Trent no different. Aaron Banks cleared the protocol, so he should be good to go. And Flanagan Fowles, he's also still day to day with his knee.
After looking at the film, how did you feel Talanoa Hufanga did out there with Malik Mustafa?
I thought he did a real good job. Loved having Huff back. Even the first play of the game for him to get in on that tackle, his communication and everything, just helping the defense get lined up and stuff is extremely good. And it's a real good first game for him.
Kyle, what went into that decision? How difficult was it to go with Malik as a starter over Jair Brown?
Just how Malik's been playing. I think he's been playing at a high level. He's been one of the better players on our defense, I think, here over the last month or so. So there's nothing against Tig. We still want Tig to be out there, but when we had to make a decision, we kept Mustafa out there.
Do you feel like Jair Brown's production on the field or play on the field is maybe, I know he played really well last year. Is it up to that standard, or is it a little bit less?
No, I think it's the same as last year. I think Tig's playing like a good starting safety. We just Huff's been our guy there and has done some big things when he's been healthy, as everyone knows with Huff. And Huff had a great week of practice, and we wanted to get him on the field, and we had to choose one guy to come off. So Bill Mustafa had earned that, over the play the last month to stay out there, and we're good with our decision.
So, Kyle, obviously Brock is fine. I mean, he talked about that kind of strange hit he took at the end of the game. He went back in. So there's no problem with him at all?
Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, you talk that way, play after it, he seemed fine, but you never know until the next day. And but trainers talking to him and stuff, he felt good, and no lingering issues from that play.
The defensive line talked to Caleb Williams quite a bit. What did you see from the defensive line in their production? It seemed like they were performing pretty well.
Yeah, I just loved how they rushed as a group. Gave them very few exit windows. I thought we had really good coverage, which made them took away the number one most of the time, number two a lot of the time, and whenever he had to get to number three, our D line was there. So I just think collectively and individually, they had a really good game.
Kyle, it seems like Patrick Taylor might have it, might be forced to start. Obviously, you didn't necessarily view him, I'm sure, in a starting role, but you know how this goes. What, attracted you guys to him in the offseason and led you to acquire him?
We look for guys who have the ability to make your team, and in order to have the ability to make your team, you got to have the running skills that we like, to where we feel if your opportunity ever comes, that you're going to be a tough runner who hits the right holes and fights for yards. And also, if you can't make one of those top two positions, how well you can help on special teams. So he had done both of those things in his career at Green Bay, and He's been doing them for us since he got here, and if Isaac can't go, it'll be his opportunity. And I think as you guys saw him run yesterday, or as we did earlier in the year versus Seattle, he's a solid, good back.
Isaac, after the game, didn't have a boot on. It seemed like he was putting his shoes on like there was no problem, but sometimes I guess the next morning is more difficult. That is he like 50-50, you think, or do you have any idea for Thursday?
One of the ideas I have is what I told you guys. I mean, he's got an ankle sprain and definitely couldn't go today. So we'll see if he can go on Thursday, but definitely can't go today. It's a quick turnaround, so we got to evaluate him hard each day. I'll be surprised if he does much tomorrow, but hopefully Thursday will be enough time for him.
Hey Kyle, with Jauan Jennings, what strikes you most about his progression at split end, and what have been some of the coaching points that go into that?
Just lining up in some different spots, and we still, it's different verbiage and everything. He's listened to certain words and stuff that tell him to do things and where to line up and everything for his whole time here. And then when you move to a position he hasn't ever played before, it's just completely different verbiage and stuff on how to get him lined up. Some of the spots in the field he's at, but Jauan he does it like he does everything. I mean, Jauan goes as hard as he can in every single situation. It doesn't matter whether it's the ball's in his hands, he's running a route, or he's blocking. It doesn't matter whether it's a deep throw, an underneath throw, in practice or in games. Jauan is always just going 100 miles an hour and playing as physical as he can.
In this compacted time frame, have you already put the Bears game to bed with the players? Have they seen everything and you've gone over it with them?
No, we don't ever address that on a Thursday night game. Players do all rehab and stuff today. The coaches come in and we put it to bed as coaches, correct our mistakes and everything, but we do it a lot faster than we normally do because right now it's in our mind it's already Tuesday afternoon as coaches, and in a few hours it's got to be Wednesday afternoon because we got to get into the third downs and nickel and everything, and so we have everything ready for the guys tomorrow. It's kind of a crammed week, and kind of gotten used to it over the years on these Thursday night games. It's a tough 4 days, but it can lead to a really fun 3 days if you handle your business right.
What was
Kyle,
your sense
George mentioned last night that it had been some time since you had players speak at the team meeting on Saturday night, but that you had asked Demo and Brock to speak. Kind of what went into that decision, and why did you think it was important?
Just trying to change it up. Sometimes I'll have somebody speak differently and just to switch up the routine a little bit, but when you ask guys to speak, you want to make sure it's guys that people truly respect, and they respect how they play and how they carry themselves and how important the job is to them. And those are two guys we got a number of guys like that on our team, but those two guys, I just know how much our team respects them on and off the field.
What was your sense last week watching the new guy, Abanikanda, practice, just as far as, how quickly he would be able to get into the mix if you needed a third running back?
He's meeting with Bobby and everybody extra. He's getting his reps on the field. We script it all, so it comes along out there, but that's more in the meeting room and everything, just being able to line up and do everything we ask. And, his opportunity's getting closer, especially Isaac getting banged up. So you always got to have three guys in the building in case situations like this happen. And hopefully it doesn't have to come to that, but if it does, we expect him to be ready.
Kyle, how do you feel about Thursday Night Football? It's arguably the biggest game to date when we're talking about the 49ers playing the Rams for NFC playoff purposes. You're having to do it on a 72-hour turnaround. When I ask you, I don't think I feel sorry for you or Sean McVay, but I do feel for like Garindo, Troy Greenlaw on the other side, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. What are your thoughts on TNF?
I think there's good things and negative things to it. I think that's why the players all kind of like it. It's also when you're hurting from the Sunday game. Sometimes it's why guys can't go on the Thursday game where they could go on Sunday. It just kind of depends on how the day went before and how they're going. But I think when you are feeling good and you're able to pull it off, I do think the guys really appreciate the 3-day bye week. You don't get many breaks in this league. and with you only getting one bye week, and one bye week in 17 weeks isn't enough. So I think sometimes it's crucial to have these Thursday night games because it is great for the mental and for the health, physically, for guys to get away for these 3 days. But it is always such a huge challenge when guys are banged up that they're just not ready to go on 4 days rest where they could be on 7. So it's got its pluses and minuses too.
Kyle, you said, I think I'm representing this correctly, but you said last night, this team is filled with gritty guys, and a lot of those guys are your best leaders, but you felt like sometimes that grit or whatever hasn't been there at the end of games. You've been doing this a long time. Can you, all teams are different, dynamics are different, but can you put your finger on, what has been missing or why that has been?
There isn't one thing to say. It comes down to making the plays and getting it done when you are in those situations. And, I could say, you're not in those situations every single week. We were versus Tampa Bay, and we got it done. So I can say that was a real gritty win, and we played with some grit there at the end. But, that's just trying to put a word on the situation. It's how hard these games are to come by at the end, and teams that can pull those off consistently usually are the teams that are in the playoffs. And when we have been in those situations, we haven't pulled many of them off this year. I always keep going back to those 3 games we lost. And Tampa was the opposite. We were able to get that one done. But usually most teams are going to be in a lot of those games, and you got to win more than you lose. And it hadn't been that case for us, and we wanted to make sure that coming into this game, we knew our backs were against the wall, and we thought it was going to be an opportunity to come out and show that we can do that and finish it no matter what happens. And I think we came out so well at the beginning, and we continued that we were able to was able to be a little bit more comfortable there at the end, which is always more fun. But we were prepared for any type of game, and we planned on winning that any way it would go.
Lock in.
All right, that's Kyle Shanahan in his meeting with the media earlier in the day. Niners going on to win that game by a score of 38-13. Maybe their most decisive domination in the game on Sunday. So we'll just give you the final totals of the game. We'll just break down the final totals. I just want to pull up the stats right now. And coming up in our 49ers segment, our next segment, we'll take a look back into time for the year 1984 from week number 15, December 9th, 1984, week 15 of the NFL season. We'll get to that in just a moment. So I want to, just take a look into that. We're going to just scroll down, taking so looking at the final stat numbers of the game. Brock Purdy threw for 325 yards, 2 touchdown passes. Isaac Garando, 15 carries for 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. George Kittle, 6 catches for 151 yards. And so that was how the game went on. And once again, let's take a look at that injury report from Sunday if we're able to get it. By the way, all that footage, by the way, with Kyle Shanahan, that was from 49ers Web Zone, our friends from 49ers Web Zone. So for week 14, Aaron Banks, concussion. Nick Bosa, hip and oblique, still uncertain whether he'll go on Thursday night. And then Trent Williams with the ankle, uncertain for Thursday night. So this is what we have for the news. And So we're taking a look. And also, George Kittle has been nominated for the FedEx Ground Player of the Week. And he, with his performance in yesterday's win over the Chicago Bears, and I'm just trying to look at the. So that's how some of the stories we had from yesterday's game. So we're gonna now going back in our time machine. We've been doing this all year. We're gonna look back on this date from December 9th, 1984, from Week 15, 40 years ago. In fact, the 49ers taking on Chicago or the Minnesota Vikings at Candlestick Park. This was on a Saturday afternoon game, and I'm taking a look if I'm correct. This was a Saturday afternoon game, not a Sunday game. It was a Saturday game from 1984 at Candlestick Park on. This was from Saturday, December 8th, 1984, 40 years ago yesterday. The game was played on a Saturday. Niners playing the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to show you the highlights of that flashback in just a moment. Let's take a brief time out. Professor B here for 49ers Live tonight, Monday, the app known as the Monday Aftermath, Monday edition on Niners Radio 49. Let's take this time out. All right, we're right back here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios in San Francisco. We continue on Niners Radio 49ers Live tonight, Monday night edition. Those you just tuning in, watching the conclusion of the Dallas Cowboys Cincinnati Bengals game on Monday Night Football. The Bengals with a 27-20 win over the Bengals, or over the Cowboys. So the Bengals improved their record to 5-8. through 13 games, or now they're 5. I think it's oh man, they now are 6-8, keeping their slim playoff hopes alive. Dallas Cowboys continue to struggle. They now go to 5-8 or as well. So now coming up in our flashback segment, we're going to take you back to the year 1984. This was a good year. Week number 14, the second to last week of the 49ers regular season. The Niners coming in with a record of 13-1. They already won the NFC West, and the 49, the Dallas, or I should say the Niners coming into this game now with a 13-1 record, have clinched the NFC West. They've clinched the number 1 overall seed, clinched home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs, as they now continue to build that momentum. When their final 2 games up the season, the Niners had established themselves tied with the best record in football with a 13-1 record. They're now 13-1. They have the best record in football. And, the 13 wins match the franchise record for the most wins in a single season. That was, of course, the 1981 49er team that went 13-3 in their first Super Bowl win. The Niners were on a mission as they, as they've wrapped up the NFC West and clinched home field advantage for the playoffs. And with 2 games left, the Niners are like no let up. That they know they got more work to do. And we're going to show you that highlight. It's week number 15. It was played on December 8th, 1984 on a Saturday afternoon at Candlestick Park. And this is a good treat. We're going to show you right here coming up. 49ers and Vikings. 2 teams in this game.
21 yards of total offense.
2 teams that are headed in opposite directions, and we are going to show you that clip in just a moment. And we're going to cue that up in just a moment. So we'll be showing you that in just a moment. We're just getting that fixed up. So okay, so this is from December 8th, 1984. The Niners already clinched the NFC West. They got the number 1 seed, and they're taking on a Minnesota Vikings team. They are playing out the schedule. The Niners are, as they're preparing to gear up for postseason play with the momentum in week number 15. Niners came into that game 13-1, facing a struggling Vikings team coming in with a 3-11 record and suffering one of their worst seasons in franchise history, as the Vikings playing out the schedule, looking towards next year, while the Niners continue to build on their magical record-breaking season, 13-1, and they want to continue to build that momentum, and they're playing for, hey, they're trying to set a standard for wins in a single season, and they're taking on this Viking team who are packing it in, getting ready for the offseason for a long winter's nap. So we're going to show you the highlights of this Niners and Bears from December 8th, 1984. This was on a Saturday afternoon at Candlestick Park. So here we go. Here we go. So we're about to show you that highlight film. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. Please stand by. We are We are experiencing some technical difficulties. Please stand by. All right, we have some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
For a while, it appeared that they might run up 2,000 yards in one game. Number 87, Dwight Clark, Freddie Salomon, and Swift Ronaldo Nehemiah, number 83, all caught Joe Montana scoring passes as San Francisco had to settle for merely 521 yards of total offense. 3 Ray Wersching field goals and a determined Wendell Tyler helped put the Niners on the board on 9 different possessions as they rolled 51-7. San Francisco thought the face mask grabbing of Tyler a bit unnecessary. But even if it were necessary for Tyler to miss a game, backups like Derek Harmon and number 30 Bill Ring, who both ran for scores, give Walsh the deepest and most talented bench in the league. Sure, losers can play relaxed late in the year, but at 14-1, the NFL's best record belongs to the loose and winning 49. Even when he is only loosening up, Smiling Dan Marino exudes a...
All right, that was another great classic. That was another great classic moment. That was the great Harry Kalas from NFL Films. The Niners go on to win that game. They obliterated the Minnesota Vikings that struggled all year long, 51-7. And it was a team completed game, and the game had, the Niners getting ready for postseason play as the 49ers just, continue as they prepare for postseason play. And the Niners, we're going to take a look back of that game from 1984 we continue to commemorate the 40-year anniversary of the 1984 San Francisco 49ers as they're taking that next step towards getting to the playoffs, as they're taking that next step towards a record-breaking season as they're trying to win their second Super Bowl in 4 years. So let's take a look from that game. So we take a look as they're pushing forward towards the playoffs, and the Niners just dominating that game, dominated in all three phases. Everybody in that game playing. Bill Walsh, the team gearing up for that second season. As the Niners, of course, the previous week they beat the Falcons 35-17 for their final road trip of 1984. As the Niners, knowing with home field advantage secured, they got the division title, the number one seed, first round bye. They will not have to leave, not have to travel out of the Bay Area or northwest out of the state for the rest of the year. As long as they keep on playing, keep on winning, this team clicking in all cylinders in 1984, taking that next step towards getting to Palo Alto for Super Bowl 19 come in January. And this is this time of the year where you want to play your best football, and the 49ers are doing it at that time. So we will now continue on Niners Radio 49 as we will look at week number 15 scoreboard, and we got a lot to have on here. As for week number 15, let's take a look around the NFL from 1984. We're just having some technical problems. Okay, so we're gonna take a look back of week number 15. Just do it by hand. Uh, so there we go. So we take a look at it. Week 15. Okay, so we're going to have to find. So I'm going to get this off my phone because I just. So we apologize for that. This is from week number 15. We're going to do it from the football database. We're going to read it off here. So we apologize for the inconvenience. Week number 15 of the NFL scoreboard from December 8th, 1984. These were the finals. The other Saturday action, the early game on Saturday, it was the Jets beating the struggling Buffalo Bills 21-17. It's all about for New York State bragging rights, West and East, at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, as the Jets improve to 7-8, while the Bills fall to 2-13. And then, of course, the Niners were winners. They go to 14-1. The Cardinals over the New York Giants, 31-21 on that Sunday, as Joe Morris, 16 carries for 107 yards in the game. O.J. Anderson, 23 carries for 91 yards in the losing effort. Or the winning, or Joe Morris, correction, rushed for 107 yards in a losing effort. O.J. Anderson rushed for 91 yards and a touchdown. Zeke Mowatt, 5 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Roy Green, 6 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown. The Cardinals improved to 9-6. The Giants are 9-6. So that means they are in a. Looks like they are in. It's now a 3-way tie for second place in the NFC East, as both of those teams trying to stay alive for a division title or for at least a wild card spot. Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Atlanta Falcons down at the old Sombrero, 23-6. As James Wilder, 28 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. He ended up becoming the 7th player reaching 2,000 all-purpose yards, total yards offensively from scrimmage in a single season. And then it was the Bengals over the Saints, 24-21. That down at the Big Easy in the Superdome. Ken Anderson, 191 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, while the Bengals keeping their hopes for a division title in the AFC Central alive, 7-8. The Saints fall to 6-9. The Pittsburgh Steelers over the Cleveland Browns, 23-20, as it was Ernest Biner, 15 carries for 103 yards in a losing effort for the rookie. Walter Abercrombie rushed for 74 yards as the Steelers maintained their 1-game lead in the AFC Central. The Packers upset the Chicago Bears 20-14. Walter Payton rushed for 175 yards in a touchdown in a losing effort, as the Bears fall to 9 they end up falling to 9-6, while the Packers improved to 7-8. The Miami Dolphins bouncing back from a tough loss to the Raiders after losing 2 of their last 3. They bounced back, beating the Indianapolis Colts down at the Hoosier Dome 35-7. Dan Marino threw for 4 more touchdown passes, 404 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Mark Clayton, 9 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown. The Dolphins, with the win, now improves to 13-2, which is the best mark in the AFC, while the Colts, who are playing in their first year at the Hoosier Dome, falls to 4-11. The Philadelphia Eagles with a 27-17 win over the New England Patriots in Philadelphia. The loss for the Patriots drops them to 8-7, and all but pretty much eliminates the Patriots from postseason contention. The Eagles improve to 6-8-1, and Wilbert Montgomery, the veteran, rushed for an even 100 yards and a touchdown. Stanley Morgan, 5 catches, led the Patriots, 5 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown, while Mike Quick, 6 catches for 84 yards for the Eagles. The Kansas City Chiefs, upset of the day, knocking off the Seattle Seahawks. The Chiefs playing the role of spoiler, 34-7. Dave Craig had a horrible day, threw 500 interceptions despite throwing 263 yards. Bill Kinney threw for 312 yards, and he threw 2 touchdown passes. Steve Largent, 4 catches for 98 yards for the future Hall of Famer. Henry Marshall, 8 catches for 166 yards and a touchdown. As the spoilers alert, Chiefs improved to 7-8. The Seahawks dropped to 12-3. But the big story, the Rams over the Houston Oilers, 27-16 down at Anaheim Stadium, down at the Big A. But the big story of that day, Eric Dickerson setting a standard for rushing, for breaking O.J. Simpson's record for rushing. And we're going to just show you So we're about to show you this clip. This is a clip we're going to show you. And this was and here's Eric Dickerson right there. So that is some of the audio feed we got there and the video, and we're going to show that clip. So it was that clip that a new standard was set. As Eric Dickerson, break
O.J. Simpson's all-time single-season rushing mark. As a rookie, the rookie rushing mark. As a second-year player, no sophomore jinx, the all-time single. Watching her boy Eric.
And that is setting a new standard for I want to look at it one more time. take a look at that one more time. He came in there, needed 6 yards to pass O.J. Simpson's all-time single-game record. And this is just a video courtesy, the video feed from NBC Sports. And we're going to show it to you one more time. So Eric Dickerson would break O.J. Simpson's record for So on that date, Eric Dickerson became the all-time single-season breaking O.J. Simpson's mark for rushing yards in a single season. O.J., of course, 51 years ago, back in '73, set that standard. Then, of course, Eric Dickerson broke his record 40 years ago today in 1984. And that was very important. That was a very important record-breaking day. So in the game alone, Eric Dickerson, 27 carries for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns in the game. The Rams go on, by the way, to win 27-16. They improved to 10-5 and pretty much clinched a wild card spot, clinched a playoff berth. The Oilers dropped to 3-12. And in some other important games, it was the Broncos over the Chargers at Mile High Stadium, 16-13, as Sammy Weiner rushed for 90 yards and a touchdown. As the Broncos improved to 12-3, while the Chargers fall to 7-8, the Denver Broncos still trail the Miami Dolphins for the top spot in the AFC by one whole game. And then also the game of the day in 1984, it was the Washington Redskins beating the Dallas Cowboys down at Big D 30-28 in a wild one down at Texas Stadium at Irving. Joe Theismann threw for 205 yards, a touchdown. John Riggins, the future Hall of Famer, the Diesel, 24 carries for 111 yards and a touchdown. Art Monk led the Redskins, 7 catches for 80 yards. Tony Hill, the former Stanford star, 7 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. So what that meant with the win, the Raiders, or I should say the Redskins, the two-time defending NFC champion Redskins, they improved to 10-5, while the Dallas Cowboys fall to 9-6, and that means for the Washington Redskins, it was also a historical moment in that long-time rivalry with the Cowboys. They could, for the first time, they complete their first season sweep for the first time. They beat the Cowboys twice for the first time ever in the regular season, and with the win, more importantly, the Redskins. So that's a historical day because the Washington Redskins, they beat the Cowboys twice, their first ever season sweep over the Cowboys ever. in that long-time NFC East rival. And now the Redskins guaranteed themselves they're back in the playoffs for the third straight year. And you could see the balance of power of that rivalry has shifted significantly in recent years. Going back to all the years with Tom Landry and George Allen, the Cowboy teams of the 70s with Roger Staubach, with the Redskins, of course, when they had George Allen, Billy Kilmer, those Redskin teams of the 70s, and it was always Dallas got the best of them, even though the Redskins did go to Super Bowl VII. But the balance of powers has changed in that rivalry because now with the Redskins winning 2 trips to the Super Bowl, they're recent in 82 in the strike short in 1982 season, and more recent, and then of course going 14 and had despite losing to the Raiders in Super Bowl 18, the Redskins now starting to have that upper hand over Dallas, and the Cowboys, a win would have got them dead even for the top spot in the NFC, or they were tied for first place, but now the Cowboys with that loss are now in a virtual 3-way tie, and they would have to win the following week against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football to get back to the playoffs again for the 19th time in 20 years. That is something we'll talk about next week when we do our 49ers radio flashback 1984. We continue to pay homage to the 49ers Super Bowl season of 1984, and when we do the Week 16 scoreboard as well next week. So that's a huge win for the Washington Redskins, and it's a kind of a devastating loss for Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys, who now face the prospect that they need a win next week against the Miami Dolphins, who are also playing for something down at the Orange Bowl for home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. The Cowboys face the prospect of possibly being shut out of the playoffs for the first time in a decade, and only just for the second time since 1965, while the Dolphins, who they'll be playing their Monday night, and we'll talk about that game next week, they will be playing for home field advantages. They're trying to avoid not to go to Mile High Stadium. They'd rather be at the Orange Bowl, not Mile High Stadium, for a possible matchup with John Elway and the Broncos for the AFC Championship come in January. So that's something we'll talk about in our next podcast next week. So that was a big win for the Redskins. They're back in the playoffs. The Cardinals, with their win, they'll play head-to-head for the NFC East title the following Sunday. And then on Monday Night Football, the defending Super Bowl champion Raiders with a convincing 24-3 win over the struggling Detroit Lions. A Lions team, the same Lions team who took the 49ers right down to the wire in that NFC divisional playoff, and the Niners survived it when Eddie Murray missed his potential game-winning 40-yard field goal that sent the 49ers to the NFC Championship. They fall to 4-10-1. The Raiders with that win, as Todd Christensen led the way for the Raiders with 5 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown, as the Raiders improved their record to 11-4. Detroit Lions are 4-10-1. The Raiders up to this point still with an outside chance of the division title, with Denver losing, with the Broncos losing. Chances are probably they will not be able to get, because I believe, if I'm correct, I could be wrong, the Broncos did beat the Raiders twice in '84. So even if they finish with identical records of 12-4, the Broncos would have that tiebreaker. And as for the Denver Broncos, while for the Broncos, they now with their win, they will play Seattle the following week, and it's all as both teams are tied for first in the AFC West, and the winner of that Broncos-Seahawks game up at the Kingdom would be the division champs, while the loser would be the wild card. So a lot's on the hand. We'll talk about that next week. Well, that's going to do it for tonight on Niners Radio 49, 49ers Live tonight. We'd like to thank all of you for watching. And we had a good show tonight. We recapped a recap of the 49ers win over the Bears, and we had we broke down, dissected our flashback segment from 1984, the 49ers record-breaking season. They now, as they go into their final game, they're now 14-1. They set a new standard for wins in a single season of this record-breaking season. When we look back next week, we'll take a look back at week number 16 to when the 49ers taking on the LA Rams on a rare Friday night lights, a rare Friday night football, Friday night lights in the city of the Bay at Candlestick Park in their regular season finale as they tune up for postseason play against their rival, the Los Angeles Rams at Candlestick Park. We'll review that game. We'll take a look back at week number 16, the final weekend finale of the NFL 1984 record-breaking season. And that was probably one of the best years, maybe the best year of the decade of the 80s, the 1984 season. You had, Dan Marino, Eric Dickerson breaking O.J. Simpson's record for rushing yards in a single season. You had Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins, highest scoring offense in all of football. Marino setting a standard, breaking all kinds of him and Mark Clayton breaking all kinds of touchdown passes and receptions. Threw over 5,000 yards. The top leading rated passer. The 49ers setting a standard, become the first team in NFL history to win 15 games in the regular season. Since they have gone to the 16 games, since they adapted the 16-game schedule format back in 1978, you could also look at the record-breaking season for the 49ers. Joe Montana being the top-rated passer in the NFC, the highest scoring offense in the NFC, and so many memories being of that 1984 season as the Niners getting on that journey towards winning their second Super Bowl title of the decade. And if they were, of course, which they would do, go on and accomplish that, not only to do that, but the show that they're one of the elite teams and taking that next step of getting that crown to becoming the team of the 1980s. So, with that being said, tomorrow on our next segment, we will take a look back of 1989, the 35th anniversary of the 49ers, 35-year anniversary when the 49ers playing the Rams actually on Wednesday. We're going to do that on Wednesday. We'll take a look back when the 49ers taking on the LA Rams for week 5 for a big game. Week 14 from December 11th, 1989. That's going to be our we'll look back at that game. The John Taylor 2 90-yard strikes for touchdowns. The Niners coming back winning a thriller on Monday Night Football, which a game the Niners will win. They will win the NFC West and will clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We'll look back at that game on Wednesday, and then on Friday, we'll have a special Friday edition of 49ers Live Aftermath. The special Friday edition, 49ers Live, the Aftermath Friday edition. We'll be on location on Friday. We'll be headed to, we'll be at the Fairmont Hotel. We're doing our podcast Friday evening at the Fairmont Hotel where they have the gingerbread. We'll be there for the next 2 Fridays. We'll recap the 49er Rams game. And in our flashback segment for Friday, for this coming Friday, we'll continue to commemorate the 1994 San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl season 30. The 30-year anniversary where the 49ers we'll take a look at when the Niners taking on the San Diego Chargers at Jack Murphy Stadium down in San Diego. Would be a preview of Super Bowl 29, and this is going to be a good one as well. And hope you join us then and also, as always, all the footage courtesy of NFL Films, 49ers.com. The conference call, we'll try to do another round tomorrow, give you updates on 49ers Live. We'll get you ready for and all that, and then it's Niners in the getting all that ready, and the 49ers in the. So we will get you ready for that tomorrow. We'll have 49ers Live tomorrow, and then we'll get you ready for Niners and Rams for Thursday night. So busy week this week. We'll have we'll also have our show. We'll have our podcast down at the Fairmont Friday night, late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening, and then then we'll take some time off. We'll have a little bit of a Niners will have their mini bye week, and then we'll take a look back, and then we'll have a little bit of a weekend off. We'll have a little bit of the weekend off, and then as we get you ready for the Niners and Rams. So that's it for now. Professor B getting ready to sign off. Latest news of the 49ers and so much more, go to 49ers.com. Check us out on also youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. And remember, all the footage courtesy of 49ers.com, 49ers Web Zone, and NFL Films and NBC Sports for the footage. It's all right reserved. I'm not trying to, no copyright intended or anything. It just, this is for special educational purposes. And that's all what we're trying to do. But thank you for joining us for Niners Radio 49 tonight. Thank you for watching, and enjoy a very pleasant, good evening. And hopefully that the Niners can try to, it looks very blim, but hopefully they can try to win out and hopefully get back to a playoffs. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And so long. And we wish all of you enjoy the rest, and the rest have a very pleasant, good evening.